Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Super Bowl 57 preview with Nicky Stees. Make sure to drop a like, engage in the chat, and sub up both the Hardcore Sports Network and Nicky Stees channel. So, that's right. It is Friday before the Super Bowl, and this year is a special feeling here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, as it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles participating in the Super Bowl, this time around playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And to get us hype about this, there's no other way to do that than with a quick That's right. That's right. We got a little over 48 hours before kickoff. So we got a lot of time. So now I feel is the perfect time, Friday afternoon, to preview the game and give you guys my take on this. As you see, I got the shirt ready, which came in the mail just in time for this right here. And on the back, it's got all the players' number, all the players' names on the back. It's not the best view in the world, but the point, you get the point. So let's go. We got Further AM dropping in to say hello. What is good right now? It is a beautiful day. I'm here to talk about some Eagles football. That is what's good. So let's get into it. This, I think, out of all the possible matchups that could have happened, if you're looking at it from the league standpoint, this is the most interesting Super Bowl matchup that could have happened. Really, I truly believe that. So I feel this is great for the league as well. And the reason why I say that is because you go at the two teams involved. There's a lot of storylines going into this one right here. So now I'm going to break them down. So you got first major storyline I'm going to discuss, Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. So you got the guy who at this point is the best quarterback in the NFL currently in Patrick Mahomes versus the best quarterback in the NFC, no questions asked, in Jalen Hurts. And it's also interesting because it's the first time in NFL history you've had two starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl who are black. You got Patrick Mahomes, who's biracial, so it counts. So that's history being made. But as far as that goes, you know it's only a matter of time before it eventually happened. You've seen it over the past decade, the transition away from the tall, mobile quarterbacks to the smaller, athletic quarterbacks that play that similar Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick style of play. So you knew it was only a matter of time before this day eventually came. And you got Jalen Hurts, who plays that similar style to Vic. Mahomes, he's more air raid at this point, but he can sometimes take off and make plays with his feet too. So he has the capabilities of doing that. But Mahomes consistently relies on passing, whereas Hurts yeah, he's shown he's improved as a passer, but he can also rely on his feet too. So that makes him a dual threat where and a little more unpredictable because you're not sure if he's going to stay in the pocket, try to pass, or if he's going to take off and try to make a play scrambling. So yeah, but you got that right there. You got obviously really the two best quarterbacks in the NFL this season, too, bar none. And we all know Patrick Mahomes got the MVP award, which I figured he would, and that's okay. Because guess what? The regular season MVP award ain't going to make a difference come game time. Game time is going to be all about who shines in the Super Bowl, who wins that Super Bowl, and who takes home that MVP award. So, yeah, we can, that regular season MVP award, let whoever has that. In this case, Mahomes. Hey, it's going to all go down. The two best quarterbacks in the NFC or in the NFL this season on opposite teams for the Super Bowl. So that's it right there. Plus, you got the history element to it too. So that's one major storyline right there. Another major storyline going into this one, of course, is Andy Reid versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid, a eventual Hall of Fame head coach who started his coaching career as a head coach in 1999 with the Philadelphia Eagles, was there from the 99 season to the 2012 season. During his run there, you saw 5 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance. That suggested right there that he is a good... Hey, whoa. Let's save that talk for NBA, all right? Come on, this is the Super Bowl we're talking about right here. This ain't the NBA. Save that Suns talk for another one. But yeah, back to it. But yeah, you had Andy Reid, who spent all those years in the Eagles, 5 NFC championship games, a Super Bowl appearance. Arguably at the time, early 2010s, the best head coach in the NFL at that point who hadn't won a Super Bowl. Then he goes to Kansas City. And in his years there, every year since 2013 has been a winning record. Only missed the playoffs one time, and that was with a 9-7 record in 2014. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in Kansas City. So that also means that, yeah, and they've also won a Super Bowl. So that makes 3 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl win, and a 4th Super Bowl appearance for Andy Reid. So Hall of Fame head coach who got his start as a head coach in Philadelphia. That's an interesting headline right there. And, you know, for some people, it's going to be a revenge element to it. For some Eagles fans, hey, if there's still that revenge element of, hey, we can win this game right here and stick it to Andy Reid to be like, hey, we don't need you to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, you're a Hall of Fame coach, but we don't need y'all to win championships. We've won 2 without you. And for Andy Reid, it's a chance of redemption on all the Eagles fans who love to hold it against him. Love to hold against him that, oh, you didn't win a Super Bowl with us. You didn't win a Super Bowl with us. So they're playing for something too here. So there's something for both teams to play for. And that's an interesting storyline, of course. And another storyline you got, this isn't the main one, but still another one. Number 1 seed in the AFC versus number 1 seed in the NFC. It's not every year that you get the 2 best teams in their conference playing against each other in the Super Bowl, but it does happen, and this is one of those years. Just feels like a great way to go about it. Top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL this season. Top 2 teams during the regular season who were in opposite conferences going against each other in the Super Bowl. The final game of the year. That feels like a great way to have it go down. But there is another obvious interesting storyline. I guess you could call it the Kelce Bowl. You know what I'm talking about. Jason Kelce, center of the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, I do want to say in advance, congratulations to Jason Kelce on his run with the Eagles. And best of luck in your future endeavors, because he says that this is going to be it. So, salute to Jason Kelce there. They're on a great run. And, of course, he got his brother, tight end Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs. Easily the best tight end in the NFL currently. You could say back when Gronk was active, he was the number 2 tight end and Gronk was the best. But now, with Gronk out of the picture, he's easily the best tight end in the NFL currently. So, you got right there a potential Hall of Famer in Jason, potential, and Travis, who's definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer, on opposite teams right there. And that's great for the Kelsey family parents right there. Their two sons are going to be playing the same Super Bowl. So that's a big one right there. I mean, they've already got to see Jason playing a Super Bowl, and they've already got to see their other son playing too. And now they get their two sons in the same Super Bowl playing. Hey, that's years and years of taking them to their football games, or taking them to practice, picking them up from games, picking them up from practice, starting to pay off for them. That's that paying off for them. I'm sure it already has paid off for them, but now this is how you know it was worth it for the Kelsey parents all those years. And of course, there was the petition of Donna Kelsey do the coin flip, which, hey, if you ever wanted to do something different, this would be the time to do it. If you ever wanted to do something unique and have one of the mothers do the coin flip, this would be the one time you could do it. But yeah, that's the point is, there's a lot of interesting headlines heading into this one, which means it's great for the league. Bring some ratings. There's a lot they can talk about right here. So that's good for them. So they, they're going to have a field day with this one talking about it. So that's all good, but we still, hey, I'm coming from this from an Eagles fan perspective. I got Eagles fans following me, listen to what I have to say. So now let's get on to what you guys really came here for. And that's to talk about the game right here. So obviously, into this game, as of right now, last time I checked, Eagles are favorites -1.5. And so far, it's pretty close in terms of predictions. And I understand that because this is obviously the toughest game both teams have played all year. And for us, the Eagles, this is our toughest game right here because we haven't played a quarterback the likes of Patrick Mahomes all season. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks we played throughout the season. We haven't played the level of a Patrick Mahomes yet. We didn't even get the opportunity to play against a team like the Bengals or the Bills in the regular season. So we didn't have that opportunity to test ourselves against those guys. So, but we're going against Patrick Mahomes right there. So that's the toughest quarterback room we face in all season. However, on the flip side, Patrick Mahomes hasn't seen a defense quite like the Eagles defense since Super Bowl 55 with that Todd Bowles-led defense in Tampa Bay. So Patrick Mahomes, we know what happened there last time he had to go against that type of defense. So see what Patrick Mahomes does this time around. So it's going to be a little different experience for him. So there's that on the flip side. And plus, we know Mahomes is going into this game with an ankle injury. Some people are going to keep pointing to that, especially some haters that ain't on board with the Eagles completely. They're going to keep pointing, ankle injury. But you know what? Jalen Hurts is coming to this game with a shoulder injury. So both QBs are coming into this game with an injury that can affect their performance. So it balances out a little bit. That's not an excuse there. With that being said, obviously we know with Kansas City, their main strength is their offense. I mean, year after year after year, we see that offense just dominate. Except for early portion of last season, they weren't as dominant, but they picked up. And this year, they're just, throughout the season for the most part, just been dominant from that offense. However, there are some weak points in that team, too, that Eagles can take advantage of. One of them is defending against the pass. And that's one of their main weaknesses on defense that the Eagles can have a field day with, especially with our weapons like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, get Zach Pascal involved too. There's some those guys can exploit that deep weakness against the pass. And that can work in our favor right there in this contest. So that can help us out. So there is that advantage right there too. And so that will get something I'll get more into my keys to victory, because here's the thing with them. Remember last week, despite the fact that their defensive line was getting pressure against that awful Bengals or in the conference championship against that awful Bengals offensive line, guess what? They still gave up close to 200, 230 passing yards? It was close to that in that game right there. And we even saw Jacksonville. The Kansas City's defense showed some weaknesses there. Against Jacksonville, they gave up 144 total rushing yards. I think they gave up over 200 passing yards against Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence at QB. So there's some weaknesses there too with Kansas City on defense that we saw in the playoffs that the Eagles could have a field day with. Because if they struggle to defend against Burrow in the passing game, there's a good opportunity there for the Eagles with Hurts. Hurts can get the ball off to his weapons because we got better weapons than Cincinnati. And we certainly have a much better offensive line than the Bengals. That is for sure, for sure. So that's another advantage we have in this matchup right here. So let's take advantage of it and let's use it to our advantage. If you give me one moment, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I need right there. So we have those advantages right here in this matchup. So there are weaknesses in Kansas City. And I think if we can bring the heat similar to the way Tampa Bay did in Super Bowl 55, we can use that to our advantage to slowing down the Chiefs' offense. So I think if you're the Eagles, I'm hoping that they looked at Tampa Bay's Super Bowl 55 game plan and they borrow bits and pieces of it, incorporated, because we have the talent here to do something similar to that as well. With that being said, don't underestimate that offensive line too, because they're a good unit too. But at the same time, they haven't quite faced a defense like the Eagles defense this year. So there's a lot of different possibilities in this matchup. There really are. But then on the flip side, there's the possibility the Chiefs offensive line is better equipped to handle the Eagles defense. There's a chance that there's that chance too on the flip side, but we'll ultimately have to see. But the point is, there's a lot of different possibilities, and there's a lot of things the Eagles are going to need to do in order to ensure victory and that they raise that second Lombardi trophy and we get a parade next week in Philadelphia. So with that being said, let's get to the main point of this preview right here, and that is the keys to victory. So let's get into it. So the first key to victory here for the Philadelphia Eagles is to bring the heat. Blitz. Just come in with the blitz. Give Patrick Mahomes a hard time. Trust me, we have the tools here on this. You have your guys like your Javon Hargraves of the world. Hassan Reddick can get some pressure too. Josh Sweat. You got all these guys right here on the D line, like your Hargraves, your Sweats. Use these guys right here, and they get some pressure up front right there. So that can help out right there. You know, Brandon Graham too, of course. I mean, we led the regular season in sacks, so we know what these guys can do. If they can get to Patrick Mahomes, as we saw in Super Bowl 55, no matter how good a QB you are, if the pressure's coming at you, any quarterback can be broken by it mentally. And that can certainly happen here in this contest. So that's one key right there, is to get the pressure up front. Don't give Mahomes time to get his feet set. Because trust me, if he feels the heat coming, he's going to get dropped at least 5 or 6 times throughout the contest. Hell, if we can get to Mahomes 3 or 4 times, that could help us out too. So I feel if we bring that blitz, that'll help us out. And even if we don't get to him on some of those blitzes, we can force him to throw some quick passes that can, even if he is able to throw quick passes to his running backs and complete them, there's a chance you can minimize their yards gained on that. You can minimize their progress down the field through doing that by forcing them to throw short passes. That's one way you could also minimize their ability to move the ball downfield and score some points. So that could help work there too with bringing the heat as well. And also sometimes you could even maybe get lucky and force him to throw some bad passes he's not used to throwing. So there's a lot of possibilities that can come out of getting the pressure on Mahomes all evening that could help the Eagles out right here. So there's those possibilities right there. And another key to victory is we got to be able to pass the ball. And we've seen throughout the playoff run, pass defense is not their strongest suit as a team. So with the weapons we have there, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, you get the point. I keep emphasizing that point. We can definitely do some damage against that defense. Hurts can make those throws against them. And that's one weakness we can exploit. Get some first downs on. Move the ball downfield against those guys. That can help us out right there. So that's one thing we can do right there. So we can definitely pass the ball effectively against this team. Move that ball downfield. Keep momentum on our side. And another key to victory is we got to be able to run the ball too. Now, they are better against the run than they are against the pass throughout the year, but they're not the strongest run defense in the world. Better case in point, they're not the strongest defense in the world. So going against an offense like Kansas, like the Eagles, that's going to be a tough one for them. It's going to be tough for them. If we can at least move the ball, maybe average 4 yards a carry or so, and can pass effectively, hey, that can help us out too. So if we can at least do those things, that'll be good for us on offense. So that's 2 keys right there. And another key to victory coming from the offensive side of the ball is control time of possession. Yes, because here's one thing. We control time of possession. That means you keep Patrick Mahomes less time on the field and give him less time to make his magic work and less of an opportunity to do that. Especially if this ends up being a high-scoring game and we control time of possession, that could be the main thing that makes the difference between coming up short and winning a second Super Bowl. So let's control that time of possession right there. Let's make that a thing right there. So that is something we can do. That's something that can help us out greatly. That could possibly play a difference, I think, in a high-scoring game. So that's why I emphasize time of possession is a key to victory right there. Is to keep on the field, keep moving down the field right there. Maybe get 1 or 2 long drives, scoring drives. And even if we have 1 or 2 long scoring drives, maybe we have another drive that's long that maybe doesn't result in points, but you know what? If we still have those 1 or 2 scoring drives, or let's say 2 scoring drives and another long drive, maybe if that other one doesn't result in points, but you know what? It takes time off the clock and gives Kansas City less time to make their magic work. So I feel that time of possession could be an important one, especially if this ends up being a high-scoring contest. And I feel one main key, obviously, is to play disciplined football, all right? We can't be coming into this game unprepared for them at all. We got all the talent here. We know these guys can get it done, but we can't be having a bunch of penalties set us back. We can't be having a bunch of reckless missed assignments right here. We don't need situations like Darius Slay playing receivers 15 yards off. That ain't going to work here against this Kansas City offense. That will not work at all. You got to have enough discipline to understand this defense needs, in order to shut these guys down, you got to play man-to-man against these guys. And that's another point right there. As far as the secondary goes, play man-to-man against these guys so you have a good chance. That's your best chance at shutting them down right there. You don't want to play them off the ball because that's not going to work. They'll have room to get open, and they'll be able to easily move the ball on us. We do that. You got to play these guys that way. That's how Darius Slay shut down Justin Jefferson. So that's one way to do it right here with these guys like Slay and Bradbury. Play them man-to-man. So that's one thing right there. Obviously, we don't need like offensive line and eligible men downfield. We can't be having that right there. Can't be having guys miss easy blocking assignments, Can't be having unnecessary fumbles, Those are the things that do not equate to playing disciplined football. So we need to play discipline. Simple things like having a good grip of the ball, avoiding careless penalties, making plays. Simple things like that involve disciplined football. Hey, awesomeness. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're having a good Friday. And I'm going to guess you're probably pulling for Kansas City, ain't you? You probably are. But yes, obviously, so that's another key right there is to play disciplined football. And those are the keys to victory I have in this one. And you know what? Score predictions. I know it sounds cool to do, but I'm not going to go there in this one because, let's face it, score predictions are a jinx sentence right there, if you will, if that makes any sense. So I'm not going to give a score prediction. Even though I know that's one of the popular things to do, I'm not going to do it in this one. What I'm going to do is I'm getting to my closing thoughts to say how I think the game will work. If we can do some combination of those keys to victory, if we can get some pressure up front, control time of possession, move the ball effectively passing game, and run the ball against them. If we can do just some combination of those things, some combination, and of course, staying healthy throughout the game, we should be able to come out on top with the W here. We should. But if we struggle to follow through on those main keys to victory, if we only hit on maybe one of those keys to victory or two of those keys to victory, then we're probably going to come up short. I think we need to at least hit on three of those keys to victory that I just laid out in order to win this game. But you guys can comment, let me know if you agree or disagree. If there's anything you want to add to what I'm saying, feel free to do so in the chat. So I think that's really what it's going to boil down to in terms of who wins and loses this game. It's all going to depend on how this team plays. What do the Eagles do out there? Do they come in prepared? Do they play the game properly? Or do they struggle throughout the night to follow through on everything? I think that's going to play the factor right here in determining whether there's a second Super Bowl parade or not. That's going to be the big thing right there. So I think it's all going to come down to that. So Sunday, it's going to be game time. All the talking's going to be over. And really, hey, I think for me, this is the last you're going to get of the talking of it. And I put a poll up on my community tab. You guys can vote on that, on who you think's going to win the game. But as far as talking goes, for me, the time for talking's over. It is over. No more talking. It's just time for the two teams to go out there and play the game. Now, we still got the remainder of Friday, and we got a whole day Saturday. But you know what? That gives us some time to talk about, for me, it gives us some time to talk about some other things too, maybe. Might drop a short or two about some of the NFL awards, the Hall of Fame. But you know what? I'll just leave it at that. So, yeah, thanks for everyone that came through. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great Friday night. And again, as always, I'm going to say this. If you're going to go out, make sure you do so safely. If you're going to go out and drink alcohol, call an Uber, Lyft, a taxi, or have a designated sober driver. And stay safe this weekend. So, yeah. So, Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to see. So, ultimately going to see how it really plays out on the field. So, again, these fly, Eagles, fly. Let's get this next Lombardi trophy. Let me come back early next week. Make my recap, a celebration recap. So, yeah, now it's just time for the Eagles to go out there and make that happen. So, until next time, Nicky Stees signing off.